It's a reunion almost 6 decades in the making.
A Georgetown woman set out to find the person who put her up for adoption when she was just a baby, her birth mother.
Our cameras captured the moments they saw each other for the first time, face to face.
It's not too often you ask someone the most basic of questions and get this.
What's your full name?
My birth name, or my adopted name, or my married name.
But there's not a whole lot that is typical of Stephanie Young's story.
But right now I'm just being called daughter, so that's good for me.
It began back in 1959 when she was born in Washington, D.C. as baby Leota to a couple of teens who had to make a decision.
And at the time they were very young and they weren't able to be married and financially support me. So my birth mother and my birth father together made the choice to have me and put me up for adoption.
A loving couple adopted her, becoming mom and dad to a little girl they named Stephanie. Through the years, Stephanie was told the truth about her past, all while being brought up in a loving home. But Stephanie found herself alone again when both her parents passed away by the time she turned 31.
It's been lonesome the last 20-something years with no parents and no brothers and sisters.
So without knowing much at all,
that's all that they would tell me from my records really was you know, I was born in Washington, D.C. on that date.
Stephanie began the search for the woman who gave her life.
Oh, those are leads, family trees, genealogy lists, all kinds of names, surnames that I had in common.
It took lots of time.
That is like a part-time job.
It was like finding a needle in 50,000 haystacks, is what it was like.
Printed paper and dead ends, and Stephanie wasn't any closer, despite near daily work on her mission to meet Mom.
Pretty much every day. So, and then these were my best leads right here. These were the ones that I had the most in common with.
A friend even went through a Washington, D.C. phone book, dialing up every person with a particular last name.
I wasn't getting anywhere, and I said, well, you know, I'm being persistent, I'm trying so hard, and I need help.
That help came from an angel of sorts from a Facebook group, a search angel who specializes in genetics and family trees and volunteers to help piece together families.
She said my case was the toughest case that she's had so far.
A tough case, but not uncrackable. The search angel tracked down Stephanie's father.
And he said, yes, that's my daughter. And would you like to know your mother's name?
Her name is Evie Ketzdever. She lives almost 3,000 miles away across the country in Oregon. Stephanie's 20 years of searching for her own blood culminates in this.
Well, I get to go to the airport, and there's going to be a plane coming about 4 o'clock, and on that plane is a very special person. That's my mom, and I'll get to meet her for the very first time.
Stephanie has waited 58 long years for this moment at Charleston International Airport. Her constant searching for the woman who gave her life. Other passengers on board the plane from Seattle begin to breeze past Stephanie.
There she is. There she is, right there. Here she comes.
Until she sees her.
Oh. I didn't get the final directions. Oh. I love you. I love you too. Welcome, special. Welcome home.
The two haven't embraced since Stephanie was just days old and Evie her young mother.
It's been so long. I've wanted this for a very long time.
I looked for you a long time. I love you. I love you too.
We got God's reward.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That puts you in life.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so
and you're
glad.
here. You're here. It's wonderful.
Stephanie gets to introduce her husband and use that special word for the first time.
Hi,
This is my husband, Charles.
nice to meet you.
This is my mom. Oh, let me hug you again. I don't think I can ever get enough hugs.
I prayed for you every day since you were born, and that this would happen. And I just knew that if you knew that you were adopted, that you might not give up.
I was never going to give up, ever, ever.
I said, if she's like me, I told my best friend a long
Stubborn.
time ago, she will find me.
Evie even kept the same home address and phone number for a long time in hopes she would be found.
See, at the place where I had her, you took care of those babies for a week or maybe two, and I always felt I bonded with my little baby, and that one day she would come back if she could.
And we did. We found each other, didn't we?
Yep.
And here we are. I'd always wondered, and I always hoped, and always dreamed, and always prayed. And so never give up hope. Never. Just don't give up.
And now, one of the reasons why it was so hard to find one another is because it was a closed adoption. So by law, very little information is given to either side, both the parents and the child. Stephanie only knew her birth name, her birthplace, and her birth date. And keep in mind, Evie wasn't sure if her daughter knew she was adopted, so that gave her pause too, so she didn't just turn Stephanie's life upside down. The two visited in Georgetown for more than a week. They told me they had a whole lot planned, including walks on the beach, sleepovers, and a party.